See ya. Hey, I'll tell Dave about the library.
Okay, if you need help, I can get it up.
Okay, thanks.
Over 60, I'm sure he is.
Oh, I know.
Everybody please rise for the pledge.
There he is.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I think this one.
Is that one of those ones that broke?
All right, Aaron.
You might stick, you might stick.
Call meeting order, roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westgard.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Waltman.
Yep.
Beckman.
Yes.
Our first item on the agenda, we only have two, is the new police chief hire, Chris.
You bet. So,
Is everybody, nobody, no, not everybody's met Chris.
We don't want to.
That's understandable.
at your seat tonight would be just a new hire memo that I would have with Chris, and we'll really just look at items 1 through 9 there. The first one is about your date of employment. What are you thinking about when you're able to begin?
So, 2 weeks from today would be, that Sunday would be my last day.
So the
So
27th?
the 28th,
28th would be the first.
28th of Monday.
Yeah.
so I could start either that Monday or the 4th.
Okay? I think we'd like to have you start as soon as we can, if we can do the 28th.
Yep, I can start the 28th.
Perfect. March 28th will be the start date, okay? Hired as the chief of police, a Fair Labor Standards exempt employee, probationary for the first 6 months, gotta live within 10 air miles of the Lakeview city limits, which he does, lives in Sac City. Starting salary says $72,000 with the next salary review on July 1 of 23. Begin employment with 2 weeks, that's 80 hours of vacation time. And then during the second year employment, also 2 hours of 2 weeks of vacation time. And after that, it would fall onto regular, the regular schedule about accruals for vacation time. Shall begin employment with 3 days of personal time, and then other benefits as stated in the Lakeview Personnel Policy Manual.
Does the council have any questions for him?
I have one question since I wasn't here last week. So like, with him living in Sac City, does he drive his personal vehicle to Lakeview then, and then get in like what Ted and Royce did?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay, I just,
You know, I don't,
just clarifying.
we didn't really have that discussion, but I think that's the case. You drive your personal vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
that's the only question I have.
I'd entertain a motion to hire Chris as
So
chief of
moved.
police.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's your last name?
Jokers.
Okay. You never mentioned that.
Yeah.
I don't have that sheet of
No.
paper.
JOCHIMS.
All right, Waltman,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Stankian.
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
All right.
Okay, we have one more item about the trail property.
Yeah, so this would be about the property there to the north of the maintenance shop, and then the railroad right away. So the city is in that purchase contract with Van Meverens about purchasing that property to the north of the maintenance shop. And I think everyone now would agree that the city owns that property to the north.
I don't know if I agree with that. And I'll tell you why I don't know if I agree with that, Scott, is because on the beacon, it is still listed under Hanson Silo Vern Van Meverens.
Sure, yeah. So I guess here's the other.
So I want to know, you know, and I guess I'm going to speak up, and I apologize, I missed the last meeting, but and I don't know if it was discussed at the last meeting, but something, the ball got dropped somewhere along the line, does that make sense? One way or the other. I visited with Vern about it a little bit, and, you know, he thinks that the city may or may not own it as well, but he's been paying taxes on it, right?
It's, and even that, I guess it couldn't clarify for sure about the amount of taxes that have been paid, but he certainly has been paying taxes on the Hanson silo property, whatever.
Right,
whatever
which
that
is
would
part
be.
of that ground. My question is, when we move forward and you, the council, before I got on here, Mike got on here, you guys had an agreement to purchase it from Vern, then I don't know what happened after that, the purchase agreement went away or whatever, but whatever we do, I wanna make sure we get it nailed down so we don't have this when, you know, 20 years from now, if Vern's still alive or Mike takes over, whoever buys that stuff from Hanson Silo, so we own that, you know what I mean? I wanna get it in black and white that it's the city of Lakeview.
I agree with that.
I think that's what we discussed.
We got a
Yes.
development agreement,
Yeah,
don't we, Dave?
I was gone, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm just making my voice heard at a meeting, so does that make sense?
Yeah, because like I said, we wanna clean it up somehow.
Right.
And, you know, Vern, you gave some property away to some, and
Right.
I'm no expert on this, I guess I'll find out, but, we need to clean it up somehow, and then we can move forward to it, because like I said, if we leave this gray area, and, you know,
It's gonna come out, back to haunt us
it's
again.
gonna come back again, and that's,
It will.
and we talked about, I don't know, you've done a little research on it quite a bit, Dave, haven't you? I mean,
If I could say something, Whitey, I'll just tell you, I had a talk with you on it too. When we bought this back in 79, 80, whenever it was, from Hanson Silo had a long-term lease with the city of Lakeview for that back property. I went up to the courthouse and talked to, I think it was Russ Hex at that time has a job that Barlow's has now. And I said, I'm gonna get rid of some of this property, we don't need it all. So what I did was I give the front part to the Legion, they bought the building from me for, I don't remember the figure, but I give them the land. They went up to the courthouse and either filed on it and got it all cleared up. The back part where we didn't have a lot of buildings on, I said, well, Mr. Hanson told me then too that we have a long-term lease on that. I tried to tell Scott that a long time ago, and no problems with Scott or anything else on that. But I give that to the city and got it off their taxes. Well, it never got taken off. Now, who dropped the ball, I don't know. The Legion took theirs off and had it all given to them, and that's fine and dandy. The back part never got taken off. Now, why it didn't, I don't know. It wasn't my fault that I didn't go up there and sign it off. It's the buyer that has to go register, it's not me. It never got done. That's the best thing I can tell you, Whitey, and that's how I tried to tell you before.
did you continue to pay taxes on it after that?
As far as I know, I did. If you look on Beacon, I paid it all these years, for 40-some years. Now, is that my fault? I don't know. I just pay the taxes. I don't pay. If you go up there and ask them, you'll get this from them.
Not been paying taxes, you should have.
Well,
I don't.
I'm trying to find that out, you know, like I
They'll
said.
tell you the same thing they told me.
Paying taxes.
So I said to him, I said, okay, if you can't say that I'm paying, who pays it?
You should have gone to the-
That's what they did.
I just,
That's all I can tell you, Whitey.
yeah, no, I understand, I'm just
I'm
trying
not
to,
trying to claim that back property. I don't want it. I'm sorry that I did it before. I thought I owned it. And that's the best I can tell you.
So I guess
And I'm
you're,
ready to just throw that 25, think away that contract, whatever it is, 23 that's left on it, throw it away, whatever, I don't care.
But we've agreed on 3 points. They are, we're gonna pay you $3,000, right? And you're gonna write off any claims to the land.
Right.
And what's the other one?
quick claim deed on the
Quick claim
trail.
deed, right. That's what we're doing now, right now.
Fine with me, that's the way,
That's what you want, and that's what we want.
well, then it's cleared up, I
Right.
hope.
That's all we're trying to do is put.
I just want my names off, and Jim Dolly told me if I do these quick claim deeds, he didn't say it, but I got it kinda from me, it kinda, will my name come off there? Yeah. Well, I hope
Well, I
that
think we
comes
gotta,
off,
oughta
that's
have
all I
that
can tell
survey
you.
and everything to make sure we
have
I agree.
what's
Yeah.
owned by the city.
Well, that,
The surveyor guy was there on the trails and he couldn't figure it out or something, wasn't he?
What's that?
The survey guy was up and he wouldn't do the trail.
He will, he said, I don't wanna get involved with that, Vern. I said, you don't have to, I don't want it. Give it to the property owners, I don't care what you do with it, I don't
We
want
can
it.
do that after we buy it.
Right.
Right, you can do what you
Well,
want.
that's what I meant.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What's it gonna take to make sure, financial wise, what's it gonna, to make sure it's all in the city's name? Do you
Yeah,
have any clue, any,
Just, so here's the deal on that, on the land. So really two separate things. Think of the railroad right-of-way as a different deal from the land to the north.
right,
Okay, because the land to the north is involved in a subdivision. The city was the owner of the land when that was subdivided in the 40s. Okay, and none of the lots out of that subdivision had been sold, to my knowledge. Okay, so they were rented. They were leased to. This area was leased to Hanson Silo for a long-term lease. And we found some knowledge from the minutes about that lease. Part of it was 25 years, ran from 55 till 80, and then there was a little extended lease then afterwards for a fairly smaller part of that too. So the area where the salt shed sits is still part of this subdivision that was recorded in the 40s, but that actually is not a land parcel, that's street right away. 9th Street is platted to go along the north edge there and abuts the south right away of the highway. And you know, it certainly looked like it was everything was properly subdivided, everything was properly recorded, and there's just, you know, there's no question that that's city right of way there where it sits. But again, it's not a land parcel, it's right of way.
but we built on the right of way.
We did, yeah. That's true.
Cause the street will never go there.
Well, I'll make a motion that we pay, Vern the $3,000 and get,
There'll be two quit claim deeds. One will be to the parcel to the north, which was the subject of the contract. I've got a quit claim deed prepared for the payment of $3,000 to the Van Meverens from the city, which will satisfy and release any obligations that the city has under that contract. That's step one. Step two, we've got to figure out what the legal would be for the remaining railroad right-of-way, and then the Van Meverens would have agreed to sign a quitclaim deed when we get the legal description determined. It's not a straight line, and the hardware company has a little pie-shaped piece in there that they and Vern are gonna take care of separately.
I don't know who you're gonna get to survey it, but
Yeah.
I don't care. As long as you get me out of it, I don't care.
And that'd be the step. I think we can get pretty darn close to accurate, but we're gonna have to work with the adjoining landowners as we work our way north to south to see what their claims are, perhaps get quitclaim deeds from them, that type of thing. I don't think it's going to be that extensive of a project as far as cost goes. But when I checked this out at the courthouse, as far as the taxes go, with the assessor's office, the Van Meverens have been paying taxes on, and I just have their last card, but I've got it here that they've been paying taxes from '86 through 2021, so. And that'd correspond with that lease too. The first lease quit in '85, so. But it's a jungle out there, isn't it?
It's a mess, I mean, you can see that on Beacon.
yeah.
Yeah, the other, just to comment on Beacon too, so I talked to, Jim Dowling's on vacation, so I did not get to talk to Jim, but I talked to Justin, the assessor, more about about the changes to Beacon. And really about why this was the way that it was to start with. And didn't really have the answer other than to say, I think it's been that way ever since Beacon's been in place, when they had the original contractor come set everything up. He says that they're certainly open to making that change and having everything be shown properly on Beacon, but everything would be, the change would be made after the documents are filed to know that everything's proper.
So can we work with the surveyor, whoever we're gonna use for a surveyor, once we get this quick claim deed and get it surveyed and get some lines straightened up and get a legal description of it then, moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that way we know it's all said and done, and then it can be recorded legally instead of a quick claim deed on the north part of whatever. You know, they can go out and make legal descriptions, and I know it probably might cost the city a couple $1,000s, but we need to get it done and squared away.
So just to confirm, are you talking about the north property or the railroad right-of-way property?
Well, the whole thing.
All of it.
Well, the whole thing
I think the north property is relatively easy to do.
Well, I'm not arguing that point, but when you get up, like, almost even with the new building and the old building to the west, you know, where the lines get crooked and they almost come to a point, there's probably a small, I'm gonna say 20 feet in there where it narrows down to, you know, we could square all that off and make it part of our parcel instead of all the crooked lines through there. And then you got the railroad right away, that some of it's already with the property owners and not part of Vern's ground, so. I think that's how we need to do it, so I'll second Dave's motion.
Well, I don't think you have a problem with the west half of the railroad track, all the way up to where the alley is at, I'm trying to think of the name now.
It's right behind Jim Carroll.
Jim
Carroll's,
Carroll's stock ups, yeah.
because there's an alley that comes from the highway along there, and Charlie Ferguson, the records that I found, Charlie Ferguson put all that ground that the city had that alley on, to the east of that, Charlie put an affidavit up the courthouse for that property. So that property is the city's all the way up to that alley that runs to the west at Jim Carroll's.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all you've got to worry about is that from Jim Carroll's up to our property line, to the west of that. The east of that, I'm signing off on it, and that's already the city's. Because what happened, the railroad comes on, they look to see who pays taxes on it, if I get this right. If they see who pays taxes on it, then that's who they quit claim the ground to. And that's how my name got on it, because we were paying taxes on all that on the east side, all the way up to 5th Street. We signed off on that already up there at the front part to the Legion. That got taken off there probably back in, I'm gonna say probably 85, 87, somewhere in there. But the city already, don't get all confused about it, the city already owns that all the way from the road up to the alley that goes by Jim Carroll's. There's an alley that goes to the west. The city has that.
Between Jim Carroll and Hawkins.
Right, so the city already has that, as far as I can tell, because Charlie put an affidavit up there when he was mayor for the city to get it.
Yeah, that's how.
We're gonna fix it right now, roll call.
Okay, Waltman.
Yep.
Beckman.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
There you go, Warren.
I thank you very much. I hope, if you need any questions on it, I did so damn much research on it, you wouldn't believe it.
We'll have our attorney.
But
With no more business, or a motion to adjourn.
So
Second, whatever you want.
Meeting adjourned.
There's that claim.
Chris, that'll be the shortest council meeting you'll want to be
Yeah.
involved in.
Don't get used to that, huh?
No, that's right.
Love this.
Dave keeps track.
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Love them, Chris.
I don't.
We've come closer sometimes.
That's some good.
Yes, we have. We've had the place full.
That's,
Where the city does